We've all been there. Someone introduces you to a friend or a colleague at a social gathering, and they ask you the most dreaded question of all time. So what do you do? In this video, we're gonna talk about how you can answer that question, what do you do, in the most interesting way and a memorable way so that people actually think of you not as boring, but as interesting. The best way to make people care about what you do is to first by providing some context for them. This is an oldie but a goldie. When ESPN first started showing football games on national television, they realized that nobody cares about out-of-state games because people only cared about the teams that were playing in their hometowns.
Scoreboard reads Cleveland 14, Chicago nothing.
So if you're in Washington, why would you care about the team that's playing in Tennessee on television? So one of the producers had a genius idea that completely revolutionized television and sports forever. Today it's super common practice, but before no one had ever thought about it. So the producer encouraged the networks to provide stock footage of the city where the game was being played. They would cut to shots of the crowd, of the sports arena. His idea was to show as many people as possible around the arena and around the city where the game was being played, showing off unique features of the arena, showing off unique features of the city, and basically anything that would provide the out-of-state viewer with more context. And as a result, out-of-state viewership skyrocketed. And there's a great message in there about the importance of context. So if someone with no context about you, your job, your industry, asks you what you do, then don't simply just respond by saying, oh, I'm in tech. Provide more context so that they're actually on the edge of their seat waiting to uncover the mystery with you. So for example, if you're in cloud security, don't just answer, I'm in tech. Well, cloud security actually super boring. But if you provide more context by saying, well, most businesses have moved almost entirely to cloud-based storage, but the problem is that hackers and online theft is now a bigger problem than real-world theft. So I set up cloud security so that businesses can have peace of mind knowing that they're safe from hackers and digital theft. That's way more interesting than just answering like, oh, I'm in tech. Actually more specifically in cloud security. Providing context is a great principle because even if you're in a super complicated or complex job, like you're a rocket scientist, you can still provide the context required to make anyone interested in what it is that you actually do. Here's another principle that you can use to make your response more interesting, and it's by starting with the problem and then providing your job or your role or your position as the solution to that problem. Okay, so for example, most businesses struggle to create content that engages with their audiences in a meaningful way. So we provide them with a blueprint and help them create compelling content that speaks their customers' language so that their businesses can grow. That's what I do. So that's a little bit more interesting than just saying I help businesses create content. By opening with the problem most businesses experience, it automatically increases the value of whatever comes next. And because you're positioning your job or your role or your title, whatever it is, as the solution to those problems, then it just naturally increases the value of what it is that you do. It makes it more interesting, it makes it more memorable for the person asking. Here's another principle that you can use that'll make your answer more interesting for the question of what it is that you do is by intentionally answering these 4 questions. The first question is, who is it for? The second question is, what is the problem? The third question is, how does your job, role, or position solve that problem? And the fourth question is, what is the result afterwards? So if you're having a hard time coming up with your own response to the question, what do you do? I recommend literally answering those 4 questions that I just outlined. And once you have your answers written on a piece of paper, turn them into a short story so it actually flows. This last concept might be the most important, and this is being concrete. So people naturally complicate language by speaking abstractly or by being vague. But life is not abstract. Life is tangible and concrete. So answer the question of what do you do in a concrete way. That means by talking about specific people and specific things. So the more vague you are, the less interesting you become. When you speak concretely, people remember it and you'll be perceived as more interesting as a result. Okay, so to recap, if you want to have a more interesting way of telling people what you do, provide context, answer the 4 questions of who it's for, what the problem is, how your job solves that problem, and what the result is afterwards. And then do all of this in a concrete way by talking about specific people and specific things. I hope this video helps you become more interesting at your next social gathering. Networking is one of the best ways to grow your business. So I hope that this helps generate leads for you in the near future. If you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Comment below for more video ideas that you would like to see me make in the future. And most importantly, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss a thing. To your success, we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.